And now it is time for our Bay Area baseball bit. And per usual, we are joined by our insider, Alan Stiles. Now, Alan, this time last week, I asked you a question about the A's, and I'm not going to lie, you were kind of hard on them. They're playing some great baseball. They lost today. They actually lost this series against the Rangers, which is upsetting, but they had won 8-10. They closed the gap in that AL West to a game and a half behind the Astros. Do you think this could be the year where they could make some noise in the postseason? They're kind of flying under the radar, and we've all been jaded because we've seen it time and time again. Do you think this could be the year where maybe they prove us wrong?
Yeah, I think that this could be the year. But when you look at the standings, number one, not to take anything away from the A's or Giants, but they both had kind of a light week. No, with all due respect to the teams that they played, they're not the cream of the crop, but you got to play the teams that are in front of you, and they did a good job to get those wins. The problem for the A's is that now they have to head to the south side. Chicago White Sox, the first place team with my boy Tim Anderson. I liked him before the homer in the cornfields. They got to play 4 games against him and that team. Then they have to go to the second edition of the Battle of the Bay. Obviously, the Giants, who have been rolling as well. So the Yankees, they're only 3.5 games behind the A's, and you have to make it to the playoffs in order to make any noise. And I do think if they get in, like you said, Jason, they can fly under the radar, but they have to make sure they get there first.
Let's talk about the Giants. LaMonte Wade Jr. is a guy who's having a phenomenal season for this club. What do you think? Is he a flash in the pan, or is this someone who can be a part of the organization's long-term plans?
He can be a part of the long-term plans. It's just a matter of how big of a piece of it will he be, and that's simply because right now you could liken him to this year's Yastrzemski, which we all know that would be outstanding. The difference is Yastrzemski can hit lefties and righties. Right now the narrative is LaMonte Wade Jr. can't hit lefties, and because they're in this tight pennant race, this is no time to experiment. So they're not going to have games where they're just going to leave LaMonte Wade Jr. in there just to see if he can hit. So he's not going to get very many opportunities. Maybe he does early next season and he can prove that he's an all-around player. And if he does that, the Giants will be more than happy to make him a big piece of this team and this organization.
All right, now on the flip side, back across the bay, unlike LaMonte Wade Jr. is having a career year, Matt Chapman, the darling of the A's organization once upon a time, is now struggling at a different level than we've ever seen. What is going on with him? I know he's been battling through some injuries. Is he not fully recovered, or is it mental? What's going on with Chappie?
Yes, so he is starting to get hot. He's got 3 homers in the last 2 games. You love to see that. But I'm going to be very honest. Hips are very important for any type of mobility. That's one of those injuries where you don't realize how much you use something until you injure it. And you can only imagine how much you use your hips when you're swinging a bat. It's just whether it's a golf club, anything like salsa dancing, anything like that, you use your hips. So he's been battling that. He's starting to get back to where he was. But the good thing about Matt Chapman and a lot of these great defenders is that defense never slumps. He made what many people are calling the best catch they've ever seen last night. And I do think that because of that, he always stays in the game. And if he can continue to get back to where he was, I don't think it'll be an issue of when he gets back to where he was. It just is a matter of, is it going to be in time to help the A's for this postseason run?
We're getting awfully close to that postseason. Giants marching right into it. What do you think they need to do to have confidence as they prepare for a potential World Series run?
Yeah, the thing about the Giants, I do think that they are very complete in all aspects of the game. But the same reason we love them is the same reason things could get dicey in the playoffs. We love that Gabe Kapler can plug and play people, and even though there have been injuries, they've been able to fight through it. But there's something to be said when you get to the playoffs and when you're watching these playoff series, the same 9 people go out. You got their starting rotation, and you don't have to move things around too much. If he thinks he can continue to press those buttons when it matters the most, that's great. But you do want to have the ability to put out, you know, your main guys, and maybe you switch 1 or 2 because of a lefty or a righty for matchup purposes. And that is really what propels most of these teams to the championship. So I think that they definitely are in a good position, and maybe they can play this way and take it all the way to the top. We love all the Travis Ishikawa from the past, those pinch hit home runs, but I would like to see a more firm lineup going into the postseason.
Yeah, they love to platoon guys, but there you have it. That's Alan Stiles. Can't wait for that Bay Bridge Series Part 2 this coming weekend, but that's all we have for the Bay Area Baseball Bit. We'll be back, in a quick break.